We need to stop picking and choosing who trauma we want to support. Trauma is trauma. Don't matter if it was a black woman, a black man, a white person, a Mexican. Don't matter. Trauma is trauma. A person is a person. Hi, soul family. How we feeling? How we doing? It's your girl Jaya Fire. We back at it again with another soulful episode because it is the sweet tea for the soul, and I'm very surprised that I remembered my intro because it has been a little minute. I've been on vacation. And I just been reflecting, trying to dream bigger, trying to achieve my goals, and it's been going good so far. A little bumps in the road when it comes to career, but I feel like no matter where I go, I'm still gonna find a route that is most beneficial to me, so I'm not even stressing about it. Another thing is, in this season, I realized that I have to love myself a little differently this season. My mindset and my body is changing in a way that, it's just a new chapter for me. And, my body is showing up differently. My mindset is showing up differently. And I'm trying to keep up with the pace of it all because, I'm not gonna lie, like in this moment, I don't feel my best. I feel like I'm at a crossroad right now where I want to embark on a new chapter, and I am embarking on a new chapter, but it's just some things that still need tweaking before I do. And I'm honestly just talking about, my appearance and my mindset, but mainly my body, because I'm 22 now, and I know that your body is hitting its second puberty, as what they call it, and I feel it with my body wanting different things and my body reacting to certain things differently. And I'm just, trying to take care of my body in the proper way. Before I was losing weight to look good, like most people do. But I actually want to lose weight and maintain my weight to be healthy, like a long-term goal when it comes to this. I'm not striving for short-term goals anymore because that's just not where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in my teens, which is crazy to say, like when I was in my teens, I was doing short-term goals, and it wasn't bad because it got me to eventually wanting long-term goals, and I needed to start small, so it wasn't bad. But this time, okay, now we gotta actually pick up the pace and do something a little different because we actually want to set ourselves for our 30s. You know what I'm saying? So that could happen real fast, and I just don't want to waste no time when I know what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm sitting around contemplating what I want to do. That was me a couple of years ago, probably 2 years ago or something like that, still trying to figure out if I want to go back to school, still trying to figure out what I want to do as a career. And now that I have a game plan in my head, it's time is going to go by fast, and you just want to make the most of it, because eventually the goal is to just be content in my career, be content in my finances, and eventually in my 30s I start building, investing, building a family, blah blah blah. So that's the goal, and that's my goal. I ain't saying this is the American dream and you have to go this way, no. this is just my goal. You know what I'm saying? And something that I'm going to stick to because it's just the thought of it is making me happy. So I'm going to go with that. I was learning about trauma recently, and we all bounce back from things differently. Some people have more resilience than others. Some people, cope with trauma in different ways. And for me, I really want to acknowledge the resilience that I have, because I realize not everybody has that. Just because you could do it, just because you've dealt with stuff in a certain way, doesn't mean that everybody else is doing it the way that you did it, right? So in that sense, I'm being more patient with myself and also others, because the career path and where I'm heading, I have to be more patient with these type of situations. So I just want to be mindful of that. And speaking of trauma, there's a lot of things circulating on social media right now, whether it comes to Cassie, Hallie, or Megan. And honestly, like, anybody that is going through trauma in any type of way, shape, or form, speaking about it, like, as the victim, is never easy, especially for them, because they're doing it on a much bigger platform. Imagine you going to a friend, or honestly just the courtroom, and it's just you, yourself, and probably a couple of other people that are close to you, and you're confessing all these things that happened to you. And then when the court thing is over or whatever, you go back and people don't believe you. You know what I'm saying? It's like your word against theirs when they haven't even been there. You know how like frustrating that can be, or it sounds? That's like me coming to you guys talking and venting about my trauma, and then there's people in the comments saying, oh, that never happened to her. How would you know? So I feel for them on that scale, because that's very, frustrating, especially when trauma is so life-changing. Like, it literally changes your biology, and it's just kind of, I don't know where I was going with this, but it's just you feel for it when you've been through similar experiences, right? And you feel it more deeply when it is a woman of color, right? Because I'm a woman of color. I've been through trauma. I've actually had the blessing to speak about my trauma and, be free in that. But imagine when you're speaking about your trauma and you can't be free in that. You speak about it and it actually suffocates you more, and that's a hard pill to swallow, to be honest. That is a very hard pill to swallow, because it's not only that it's suffocating you more, but it's suffocating you more through your own community. Like, I don't like how, and I'm gonna just be real, I don't like how most people in the Black community deal with trauma. It's something that needs to change drastically for our generation to heal, for generations after us to heal, because if you don't start with the root of the problem, most of us go through trauma at home in the Black community. And it's not to say that it is our fault. It's just something that happens with generations. It's something that happens with poverty and so forth, right? So if we deny our trauma for ourselves and we don't take time to acknowledge our trauma, how do you think we're going to show up in the community? We're going to work against ourselves in that way. And just seeing that the people that don't sympathize with these situations are the ones that go through the most trauma. They're denying their own trauma, right? Empathy goes a long way. And just saying, like, even if you're not doing anything directly to help, just have empathy for the situation. Because one thing for sure, never say never. Okay? Don't be so sure that can't be you next. That's so real. Like, don't be so arrogant to the point where you're making fun of people's trauma and not believing them to the point where you feel, invincible to it. Trauma can happen to anybody at any point in time. It don't matter if you was young. It don't matter if you're 80 something, right? So just have empathy, have compassion for this type of shit, because this shit is real. Like, yes, it happens behind closed doors and people try to hide it, but I don't know the number and I'm not gonna state no statistics up in here, but a lot of people go through sexual trauma, like a lot. And it's not just women, it's men, right? So you can't act like, the shit don't happen, You can't have lack of empathy for it, because I get it. Like, at the end of the day, talking about sexual acts and sexuality in the first place is a very vague and sensitive topic for most people. Like, I get it. You talk about the acts and sex and the wild shit and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, that could never happen. That sounds impossible. Or, you think about these things because it's so sensitive and it's supposed to happen, in the bedroom or a secretive thing and everybody not supposed to know your business, but it don't matter. Like, everybody has different kinks, and first off, kinks relate to trauma. So if that was a kink for that person and it's something very traumatic, well then hey, they didn't go through. Like, you could clearly look at Diddy and be like, yeah, he's been through some shit. Like, you could see it in his face. That man never looked truly okay to me, and you can't sit up in here and say he does, because he don't. So a man like that is going to develop his own trauma. A man like that is going to definitely develop his own kinks. He probably has some shit going on in his childhood, because it's just a pattern like that. Like, we've seen the same thing with R. Kelly. R. Kelly was a victim. He started out that way and then started traumatizing people, right? It's a cycle. So we can't ignore that, folks. Trauma and kinks, they go together. They go together, right? So being on the other end of that, receiving that trauma, and Cassie probably went through her own shit too. Like, there's no way that you're gonna accept that type of love knowing that you experience like what real true love is. I don't think she ever experienced that, because if you actually experienced true love, you wouldn't have got yourself in that predicament in the first place. But as somebody that is a people pleaser and seeks for validation, you're gonna go through a lot of lengths, especially with a person that you love, to do certain things for them. And that's just that. Like, it's so many things that people say that, like, love made me do this and that, love makes me go crazy. They don't say these things for a reason. Like, it's just things that happen, right? So you can't fully blame her for giving into those things, because that's what she programmed herself to do. Like, that's what happened. And just to blame her solely when it's happening to her don't make any sense. Like, people don't police the abuser. It's always a question of, what did you do to make him do that to you? Why didn't you leave? Like, you're not questioning the abuser, you're questioning the victim. That's so backwards. And I low-key didn't want to talk about that shit, cause it's just so deep. Like, I don't think I could get do this in one video. I'm sorry, I just can't. I don't know. So I'm a dial back. But the one thing I do want to say is that in this Black community, we definitely do have to do better when it comes to trauma, because as you can see, I'm gonna just say this one thing. As you can see, Diddy's Black, right? Comes from a Black family. Something went on in that Black family that was pushed down. Nobody believed him. You know what I'm saying? And now these are the consequences. Like, if we want to heal as a generation, if we want to heal generations after us, we need to deal with the stuff that is happening at home. You know, if a child complains to you and be like, so and so touched me, investigate that fuck. Like, don't automatically assume Uncle George would not do some shit like that. Yes, he would. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could know somebody on a family basis, but you're not having sex with that person. So how could you know what they're doing sexually? Investigate that fuck. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter if the child is 5, 2, 1. It happens when people are infants. Investigate that fuck. And don't be victim blaming. Like, it starts at home. Yeah, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I've experienced it. I know other people that have experienced it. Like, this shit needs to stop. Because look at the consequences. Look at the consequences. Look what it's doing to our people. And those are just the celebrities. Imagine people that don't have outlets. Imagine the people that are deep in it and have no escape or nobody to talk to because what you didn't pay attention to at home. Look at the consequences. And like, y'all need to stop making jokes about that. I'm about to cuss. That stuff on Facebook, especially the Black man, which is sad. We're not even gonna get into that too because that's a whole another deep conversation. But come on, this shit is not funny. It's not funny. It's nowhere near funny. Because like I said, never say never. That shit could happen to you one day. Then what? Imagine people laughing at you after you said you wasn't going to be in such and such situation. That could never happen to me. Now look at you. And I'm not wishing a bad on nothing, but there is such thing as karma, right? And you need to get yourself in check. Because if it was your sister, your aunt, your mother, your grandmother, whoever mother figure in your life, and that shit happened to them, that shit ain't funny. So why are you laughing at another person? You know? And we need to stop picking and choosing who trauma we want to support. Trauma is trauma. Don't matter if it was a Black woman, a Black man, a white person, a Mexican. Don't matter. Trauma is trauma. A person is a person. Stop laughing at that fuck. That fuck is not funny. I'm so sorry for cursing, but I had to say what I had to say. Like, that shit is not funny at all. I did not want to go into that topic like that, but I honestly had nothing else to really talk about. Maybe next time we could talk about what I have been learning about trauma. I feel like that's a good one. And just go from there. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.